We celebrate women today. We honor the women who helped us get here. We inspire and we encourage the women who are going to run the world tomorrow. And we rejoice, always with cautious optimism, yeah? I'm really excited about our keynote speaker today, Shamik Holtzclaw, and I'm really, really grateful also to all the organizers. Abby Hirsch and the entire organizing committee, thank you so much, including Eileen and Colleen and everybody who's sitting at the front table, Dorothy, Jackie, Lisa, who did I miss? And really, congratulations for what you've done. This is such important work. Thank you also to all the panelists, to the moderators, to the fabulous MC, Edie. And thank you for choosing to spend your day here. Thanks for being here. Be present, because these are the spaces where we find the inspiration to make ourselves in the community better. This is where we innovate. I want to describe a brief passage from a really excellent TED Talk that I highly recommend. It's given by a really excellent woman. Her name is Margaret Heffernan. Go to YouTube and search Heffernan Super Chickens, and you'll find that TED Talk. Write that down. Trust me, it's worth it. So Heffernan is an entrepreneur. She's a CEO, she's a writer, and she's a keynote speaker. And her website spells out her motto as, let's not play the game, let's change it. You gotta love that, right? So in her TED Talk, she describes this MIT study where volunteers were recruited to engage in group work to solve some hard problem. And they found that some groups were a lot better than others. So she tells us the interesting and maybe not all that surprising finding that the better groups were not the ones with the high IQ people. The better groups were not the people with the collective, better, higher IQ sum, right? They were the ones with three features. And actually, as I was talking to the organizers, they described this to me. This is the way that you do your work. Listen to this. They're people with higher social sensitivity to each other. They are people that gave equal time to each other, no voice dominated, and they were teams that had more women. So, I wrote this last night, but you express those properties of your work, so bravo. This is brilliant group work. And of course, you want to improve the productivity of your team, add more women. That's the secret recipe. Not so secret anymore. So this research doesn't tell us exactly what the characteristics are that make women better collaborators. It just says that they are. In the linguistics world that I come from, we have some clues about ways that women communicate compared to men that might make women more effective communicators. I find this super interesting. There's a sociolinguist, Deborah Tannen, I think she's the one who wrote the book, Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars. I think it's the other way around. Anyway, Google will tell you what it is. She observes that when men talk in a dyad, they talk like this. They're facing the world. When women talk to each other, and look around you during the lunch break, they talk like this. They face each other. They're making more eye contact. They're gazing at each other. They're better able to tell each other's mental state, and that leads to better communication, better negotiation of what's going on. I think it generates more social connectedness. So that's one example. Now, another example, at some point in my life when I was very new at this business of trying to get interested in language, I became fascinated by people who studied pauses and hesitations in speech. Turns out that they're very useful ways of organizing discourse. So it's not about being disfluent or wrong, but rather these pauses, they're pregnant, they're with information. Sometimes you put a pause before a low frequency word to kind of signal to your interlocutor, here comes a difficult word, get ready. So there's this tiny little study I recently ran across that shows that men use more than women, and both men and women use more as they age, okay? Keep that in mind. And now the same study finds that women use more than men, and that both men and women use less as they age. So kind of like, serious guy. younger woman, okay? Interesting, right? I used to say so much as a teenager. In fact, I was called on it once when I was on a radio show in Spain. It was really embarrassing. So I didn't think that I would tell you that, I'm sorry. So I'm not exactly sure what to make of the story, but it gets really better. This little study also shows that women use and more than men, and do so more as they age. So is this, I think it's very interesting. I think it's because women are more collaborative and learn to be more collaborative over time. And I see some heads nodding, and I know that you're saying in your head. And now, I mean, remember, we are all speakers of language, so everyone, no matter who you are. But these markers are important pieces of the social construct that lead to improved communication. And, women are interestingly good at this stuff. And maybe those are some of the characteristics behind that group study from MIT. So one last thing in the world of linguistics, and that's about innovation in speech. So it's related to age, it's related to gender. By innovation, we mean a lot of things. For example, when you use the verb disappear is an intransitive verb, like she disappeared from the meeting, right? But you can use it in an innovative way if you use it transitively, like people are not disappeared in America, yeah? You see how there's a change, an innovative might rub you the wrong way if you're a grammar police kind of person. So sometimes innovation is linked to one's background. Bilinguals like me, we're more likely to say things that are influenced by one language in the other. According to some linguists, including me, these innovative adaptations that are based on language background are actually a sign that you're actively using two grammars in one head, and that's super cool stuff. Now, also influencing innovation in speech is your age and your gender. Young women are more likely to come up with innovative constructions, they're more likely to code switch, more likely to use novel words, more likely to use language creatively, and I'm reminded of one story by Isabel Allende where there's a seller of words, her name is Belisa, and with 2 words, she brings a man to his knees. So this is women using language. Women, especially young women, also adopt novel ways of talking, like creaky voice or uptalk. Don't ask me to illustrate, but you know what I mean. And there's a great movie, very silly movie called In a World that makes a great parody out of all of this. It's the story of a woman trying to make it in the world of movie trailers, the voiceovers, in a world, right? You've heard that movie trailer. And one of the characters in the movie says, let's face it, the industry does not crave the female sound, right? Isn't that awful, right? It's this innovation that people don't like. It rubs us the wrong way. This is women going outside the mold. This is women not playing the game, but changing it, actually. Innovations that change the world for the better are typically not accepted at first and typically rub everybody the wrong way. And yet, again, this is how we change the world, one innovation at a time.